Apple is shaping up to have a big year in 2025, so buckle up because we're going to run through all of the expected product announcements. So let's start with the iPhone. The whole lineup is expected to get one of the biggest refreshes in the product's history. Starting with one you might not be expecting. The iPhone SE, Apple's budget iPhone, is supposed to get a new revision in early spring, probably in March. The iPhone SE will finally ditch the home button with a modern all-screen design resembling the iPhone 14. It'll have an edge-to-edge OLED display and Face ID. It'll be bumped up to 8GB of RAM to support Apple Intelligence, and powering the iPhone SE will either be an A17 Pro chip or an A18 chip. While it'll still only have a single rear camera, it'll be bumped up to a 48-megapixel sensor with an optical 2x zoom, a welcome upgrade over the iPhone SE's rather uninspiring camera. It'll also catch up with a bunch of the modern niceties regular iPhones have picked up over the years. It'll ditch the legacy Lightning port for USB-C for modern connectivity. It'll also finally get a MagSafe connector on the back for compatibility with the ecosystem of magnetically attaching charging stands and accessories. And it'll ditch the ring mute switch for the customizable action button. The price will probably be raised a little bit. It currently costs $429. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets nudged up to $449. Given the plethora of upgrades, I think it'll be worth it. But of course, when you think iPhone, you think of the 4 flagship models, which, barring another global calamity, are certain to be arriving in September. And this is going to be a big year. All iPhone 17 models are in for big upgrades to the cameras. The selfie camera may be upgraded from 12 megapixels to 24 megapixels for better resolution and low light performance. The primary rear camera might get a mechanically adjusting aperture. This would allow for a variable amount of background blur. It could either have a very shallow depth of field, which would have an optical sort of portrait mode effect, or a very wide depth of field, where both the foreground and the background are perfectly clear. The ceramic shield glass used to make iPhone displays could get a new anti-reflective coating to make the displays more legible, in addition to getting stronger. And the regular entry-level iPhone 17 might be getting both ProMotion and an always-on display, trickle-down features from the Pro models. The A19 chips slated for this lineup may or may not be fabricated on a more advanced 2nm process. It's looking more and more likely that Apple and TSMC will continue to refine the 3nm process that's been used on the A17 and A18 chips, rather than pursue another die shrink to 2nm. This would seemingly line up with rumors that the M5 chips, also expected next fall, won't be a significant upgrade either. Rumors suggest the iPhone 17 might ship with 12GB of RAM, a 50% increase. While 8GB is the minimum required to comfortably run Apple Intelligence, more memory will give the system additional headroom. With so many features coming to the entry-level iPhone, undoubtedly, the draw of the higher-end Pro iPhones will be a radical new design. Rather than the 2-tier triple camera bump that it's had since the iPhone 11, which kind of resembles a stovetop, all cameras and sensors will be grouped together behind a single piece of glass. Rumors are conflicted as to whether this will be a single row across the top of the phone, or whether it'll continue to be grouped in the upper right corner. An advantage of the current layout is that holding your iPhone horizontally places 2 lenses side by side to allow for recording 3D spatial video for the Vision Pro. However, having them all arranged horizontally in a row is more aesthetically pleasing and would keep the iPhone from wobbling when you sit it down on a table. The Pro iPhones may be ditching titanium for aluminum and a new design that would wrap around the back of the phone. But to continue to allow for wireless charging, there will be an inset glass panel on the back. The iPhone 17 Pro Max may have additional features to differentiate it from its little brother. A special cooling system, including a vapor chamber and graphite sheets, will help the phone stay cool for advanced 3D gaming or generating graphics in Image Playground. It may also have a smaller sensor area inside the dynamic island to allow for more content to be shown in that status area on top of the screen. But the biggest news of the iPhone 17 lineup will be the addition of a new model. Ever since 2020, when Apple first started making 4 flagship phones a year, Apple has always struggled making that 4th iPhone. The iPhone 12 and 13 mini tragically did not sell in very great numbers, and neither did the iPhone 14 and 15 Plus. While the jury is still out on the iPhone 16 Plus, Apple clearly thinks a new strategy is in order. Make a really cool, thin iPhone. This new model will still have a large display at 6.6 inches, but the biggest change will be a dramatically thinner design, somewhere between 5 and 6 millimeters. Compared to the iPhone 16 Plus at 7.8 millimeters, this will be a big difference to how it feels on the hand. A few sacrifices will have to be made to achieve this feat. Battery life probably won't be as good. It'll reportedly only have a single 48 megapixel rear camera, ditching the ultra-wide lens, and no word yet on how rigid it'll be. It'll probably bend if you keep it in your back pocket. While initial rumors suggested that this device would come at a price higher than the iPhone 17 Pro, newer rumors are saying that this will have the same $899 price tag as the iPhone 16 Plus it replaces. Now let's talk about the iPad, which is also lined up for a big year, with nearly the entire lineup being turned over in 2025. The entry-level iPad is Apple's most affordable computer at only $349, and a new 11th generation model is expected to carry that legacy. It'll have more RAM and a newer processor to support Apple Intelligence. Although exactly which chip it'll get isn't known quite yet, whether it'll be the A17 Pro or an A18 chip. And for perspective, the current 10th generation model has an A14 Bionic from 2020, so it's really due for an upgrade. But don't hold your breath for a full redesign. The 10th generation model already ditched the home button for an edge-to-edge 10.9-inch screen and swapped out Lightning for USB-C, so there's not much new to add in there. As for a release date, it's really overdue for its upgrade at this point, so it may arrive in the spring, at the same time as the iPhone SE, which is expected in March. It'll probably keep the same price at $349. Now, Apple doesn't usually upgrade every iPad every year. So because the iPad Air was just released in spring 2024, you may not expect another iPad Air in spring 2025, but that might actually be in the works. That's because the current iPad Air has an old M2 chip inside, which Apple is trying to move beyond. Bumping it up to an M4 would be a noticeable upgrade. Geekbench shows the M4 as clocking 50% faster than the M2. This could be the upgrade that the iPad Air needs. Reports show that it's being outsold by the iPad 10, which sits below it in the lineup, and the M4 iPad Pro, which sits above it in the lineup. And that's despite the iPad Air coming with a new 13-inch model in addition to the 11-inch model. With the iPad Air getting a redesign only last year, a new design is not likely for these new models in 2025. But on the plus side, that means that prices are likely to remain the same: $599 for the 11-inch model and $799 for the 13-inch model. However, this iPad Air may come with a new Magic Keyboard, the accessory that snaps on to add a keyboard and trackpad like a laptop. This accessory would have a lower price point to encourage more people to buy it. Finally, the high-end iPad Pro is also due for an upgrade this year, following in the pattern of the other two, with a speed boost upgrade in the same design. A redesign made the M4 iPad Pro, released in May, the thinnest Apple product ever, and the first iPad with an OLED display. So another redesign really isn't necessary. It does, however, need to be kept up to date with the latest technology, and that means dropping in an M5 chip when it becomes available. That points to a release somewhere in the second half of 2025, probably October or November. And with the last release getting a price bump, another one so soon without any major changes isn't likely. It'll probably maintain the same price of $999 for the 11-inch model and $1299 for the 13-inch model. Now let's talk about the Mac. Over the last few years, Apple has been straight killing it. This is, without a doubt, the strongest Mac lineup in the product's history. And for 2025, it looks like Apple is queuing up a year of slow and steady improvements. All the exciting new stuff is probably coming in 2026, but you never know, surprises can happen. 2025 for the Mac will be kicked off with a new MacBook Air, which should jump from the M3 chip to the M4 chip. This will represent a massive leap in performance and efficiency, the biggest we've had since the original jump from Intel to M1. The M4 MacBook Air will perform similarly to the M4 MacBook Pro, which means it'll be noticeably faster with mind-blowing battery life. The new MacBook Air, like last year, is expected in March, where it will launch alongside the iPhone SE, iPad 11th generation, and potentially a new iPad Air. Both the 13-inch and 15-inch models are expected to launch at the same time, at the same price, with the same specs. The last two squares on the board to see the M4 generation are the Mac Studio and the Mac Pro. These high-end professional machines, the cream of the Mac crop, will see the M4 Max chip and the introduction of the M4 Ultra chip. The Ultra chip is currently made out of two Max chips that are fused and transposed together, and that's not likely to change. That means we can expect the M4 Ultra to have highest end configurations of 32 CPU cores, 80 GPU cores, and 32 neural engine cores, with a maximum of 256 gigabytes of unified memory. This chip is going to scream. The M4 Mac Studio is expected to arrive in the second quarter of the year, probably at WWDC 25 in June. While the Mac Pro was previously updated simultaneously with the Mac Studio, rumors suggest it may arrive a little later in the year. Not one to stand still for long, Apple will debut the first M5 chips in a new MacBook Pro lineup towards the end of the year, probably in October or November. Compared to the big leap that was M3 to M4, M4 to M5 will be a more modest update. Expect marginally better performance in the same package. If you're hoping for an OLED display or cellular connectivity, don't hold your breath. Those are slated for at least 2026 at the earliest. Now, what about the iMac and Mac Mini? Unfortunately, no rumors indicate they'll be getting the M5 chip. Both computers were recently updated to the M4 chip, and it's unlikely they'll be updated to the M5 so soon. Apple's desktop Macs are known to occasionally skip a generation. Since the M4 models just came out, and they're both really excellent computers, I wouldn't be surprised if they sit out the M5. Now let's talk about the Apple Watch. After many years of annual upgrades, some more justified than others, Apple seems to be taking its foot off the gas a little bit, especially now that it has more models in the lineup to look after. 2025 will be the year of the Apple Watch Ultra. A new Apple Watch Ultra 3 will take a cue from the Apple Watch Series 10 with a new SIP, or System in a Package. An upgraded 4-core neural engine will have better audio processing for removing background noise during phone and FaceTime audio calls. More importantly, Apple might be switching the Apple Watch Ultra away from the 4G Intel modem over to a MediaTek modem. This would enable one of the iPhone's most important life-saving features to work on the Apple Watch for the first time: emergency communication via satellite. This feature would let users make emergency text messages even when you're completely outside the range of cellular service and Wi-Fi networks. Given how useful iPhone users have found emergency SOS via satellite to be in emergency life-threatening situations, this would further elevate the Apple Watch Ultra as the utilitarian device for exploring the great outdoors. The Apple Watch Ultra 3 may also feature for the first time blood pressure monitoring. Now, reportedly in its first iteration, it'll only give you indications if your blood pressure is higher, not giving you an exact reading, but this could still be a very important feature for many users. The Apple Watch Ultra 3 may also adopt the metal back design found on the Apple Watch Series 10, significantly reducing its weight and thickness. And the Apple Watch Ultra has a lot of weight and thickness to lose. It could also enable faster charging speeds, which is important for its relatively large battery. Taking more cues from the Apple Watch Series 10, the Ultra 3 should have a wide-angle OLED display, enabling a better viewing experience from wider angles. And a lower refresh rate will allow the display to update in always-on mode more frequently without negatively affecting battery life. The Ultra 3 will debut with watchOS 12 alongside the iPhone 17 lineup in the fall, at the same $699 price point. The current Apple Watch SE launched in September 2022, making a new model overdue for an update by next fall. It'll supposedly switch to a plastic case, which could potentially reduce the cost, reduce the weight, and enable it to come in a variety of fun, bright colors, making the Apple Watch SE more kid-friendly. The switch from aluminum to plastic will undoubtedly lower Apple's manufacturing cost. This could be used either to lower the cost of the device overall, making it more appealing for price-minded consumers, or it could be made up for by adding more features at the same price. The current Apple Watch SE is powered by the S8 SiP, or System in a Package, which debuted in 2020. However, even when it was new, the S8 didn't have any performance gains over the previous S7 or even S6, which means it functionally has the performance of an Apple Watch from 2020. This new third generation Apple Watch SE will probably come with an updated S10 SiP. Apart from the faster performance, it should speed up AI and ML powered tasks thanks to the 4-core neural engine. The new Apple Watch SE could debut in the spring alongside the iPhone SE, iPad Air, and MacBook Air, or in the fall alongside the iPhone 17. In 2024, with Apple giving the Apple Watch Series 10 its big modern redesign, only touching the Apple Watch Ultra 2 to give it a new color, it's unlikely that Apple will unveil an Apple Watch Series 11 only a year later. Apple seems to be moving the Apple Watch to an every other year upgrade cycle. If there is an Apple Watch Series 11, it'll be a minor upgrade at best, with possibly only one new feature or new colors. Next, let's talk AirPods and HomePod. AirPods are on a regular 3-year update cycle, with AirPods 4 just debuting in 2024. Early 2025 will be the season for upgraded AirPods Pro 3. For the first time since AirPods Pro debuted in 2019, Apple is teeing up a redesign of both the earbuds themselves and the charging case. And of course, the baseline for features of AirPods Pro 3 are the features already present on AirPods Pro 2, like adaptive audio, head gesture controls for Siri, voice isolation, personalized spatial audio for gaming, new hearing aid functionality, and more. Apple will also likely include in AirPods Pro 3 some of the improvements first seen in AirPods 4. That includes a setup button on the charging case that no longer physically clicks but is instead capacitive, and a charging light that's invisible most of the time and only appears when the case is open or charging. At the heart of the AirPods Pro 3, we expect a new H3 chip, which could significantly improve audio processing and enable even more advanced features. The H2 chip already significantly boosted the power of the active noise cancellation. The H3 chip could push this boundary even further. Health monitoring is a new direction in which Apple could take the AirPods Pro. Apple is reportedly working on sensors that can measure your body temperature from within the ear canal, which is more accurate than measurements taken from the surface of your wrist, like by an Apple Watch. The new model will also inherit the recently introduced hearing aid functionality on the AirPods Pro 2. The second generation earbuds received full FDA authorization to help those with mild to moderate hearing loss. Looking further ahead, Apple seeks to integrate external cameras and AI features into the AirPods Pro. It's unclear whether these will make the cut for the AirPods Pro 3 or whether they'll be pushed back to another future iteration, but these could enable the earbuds to better understand the user's environment. Infrared cameras could also be added to the AirPods to better enhance spatial audio features when paired with a Vision Pro headset. These features have been gradually added to the AirPods Pro 2 over time in sync with iOS updates, so it's possible that AirPods Pro 3 will continue to get additional features even after their launch. With the recent AirPods 4 adding active noise cancellation at only $179, AirPods Pro 3 will have to go above and beyond to continue justifying its $249 price point, which is expected to remain the same. The combination of health features, AI capabilities, and even further improvements to active noise cancellation could help to differentiate it. But that's not all. Apple is reportedly going to roll out a brand new smart home strategy in 2025, centered all around the HomePod. The most hotly anticipated product in this lineup will be an all-new, full-size HomePod, featuring a 6 to 7-inch built-in display. It'll be debuted at WWDC 25 in June, with a rollout shortly after in the third quarter. This new HomePod with a screen will be powered by Apple's A18 chip, which will enable Apple Intelligence features and advanced smart home capabilities. It was initially slated for a launch in late 2024, which was pushed back to the spring, which was pushed back to the summer, thanks to its ongoing software development. The HomePod Mini is also slated for its first update since its debut in November 2020. At the heart of the updated smart speaker will be Apple's new Proxima chip, its own custom-designed in-house chip for handling Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity. This will be their first foray away from third-party vendors providing these key components. The new HomePod Mini will likely support Wi-Fi 6E, a significant upgrade from the current model, which only supports Wi-Fi 4. Apple's first-generation wireless chip may not match the best of the best from Broadcom, but reports suggest that it'll enable Apple's smart home devices to integrate more closely with each other and update data quicker. Other expected improvements to the HomePod Mini include a newer S-series chip to replace the aging S5 processor, better sound quality, a second-generation ultra-wideband chip for better handoff performance, new colors, and modern smart home technology. Apple may also update the Apple TV with similar internal upgrades. Last, and definitely least, let's talk about the Vision Pro, Apple's foray into virtual and mixed reality headsets. In its second full year, the Vision Pro has some big upgrades lined up, with the possibility of a much-needed price drop. Despite the many cheap shots and early declarations that the Vision Pro is a complete and utter failure, Apple is playing the long game. The company has many years of updates planned that will gradually bring the price down and gradually shrink the hardware into more convenient, easy-to-wear AR glasses. Tim Cook has repeatedly iterated that the Vision Pro is for early adopters who want tomorrow's technology today. There are reportedly multiple Vision products in development, one of which would be a totally next-generation model, which would likely have a slimmer, lighter design and even more advanced capabilities. Work is also being done on a low-cost model, which would likely be designed from the ground up with cheaper manufacturing in mind and would pare down on some of the features. However, both of these products are a few years away. The product slated for late 2025 will be a simple spec bump on the existing model. The aging M2 chip will be replaced with a next-generation M5 chip. Apple might also replace the R1 chip that handles mixed reality, improve the camera sensors for better pass-through video, and switch to the company's own in-house Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip. The price might also be lowered from $34.99 to $29.99, but that may just be wishful thinking. WWDC 25 will also mark the first 12-month software development cycle the product has had. Because visionOS 2 was announced in June, just a few months after the product released in February, it's no surprise that visionOS 2 was a pretty small update. That means visionOS 3 could be substantial, and there are a lot of cracks Apple could fill in to make the platform feel more mature. For example, a lot of Apple's own apps don't have native visionOS versions, instead running in iPad compatibility mode. A few of the user interfaces still feel a little rudimentary, like the home view or the lack of any kind of window management. And there's also no easy way to use your iPhone while wearing a Vision Pro, like there is iPhone mirroring on the Mac. Another rumor is that the Vision Pro will support the hand controllers Sony initially designed for the PlayStation VR 2. These controllers will make gaming and virtual reality much more precise. The Vision Pro may also get Apple Intelligence support. It's the only device with an M-series chip not to have Apple's headline AI features. Hopefully next year also sees a faster pace of 3D spatial and immersive content for the Vision Pro. Once or twice a month, Apple puts out about 10 minutes of new content to watch. It's not exactly making people feel good about dropping $3,499 on what is supposedly an entertainment device. On the plus side, Blackmagic has created a bespoke cinematic camera for capturing 3D immersive video to Apple's spec, which is undoubtedly cheaper and easier to use than whatever custom rig Apple probably had going on before. And support for editing 3D spatial video is coming to Final Cut Pro, which should make post-production of this content much easier. So there could be much more spatial content to watch on the Vision Pro next year, in addition to some great quality life updates and the first updated hardware, which may come at a marginally more affordable price. And that would cap off a great year for Apple in 2025. Be sure to like and subscribe for more news. I'm Griffin Jones with Cult of Mac.